Hi guys, there's a new Black Ops 6 Zombies patch, and honestly, it's really disappointing. So we're going to go through the details of it today, and there's a bunch of other news about the next DLC Zombies map for after Citadel Day More that we're also going to be covering. So buckle up, drop a like on the No Nonsense News update, and we'll get started. Story number one is that starting Friday, Treyarch has decided to start double XP, weapon XP, battle pass XP, and double gobblegums, along with the start of the MP and Zombies free trial. So if you don't currently have Black Ops 6, this is the time to try the game. And I really recommend you jump in and see what you think. Story number two, I've been having a real nightmare recently because I keep getting linked people who are stealing my content on TikTok and Instagram. So if you see anybody doing this, please either report the content if you have the option to, or if it says that you can't report it for any reason, please tweet me a link to the stolen content, or you can send it to my business email and my management will help take care of it. But yeah, a bunch of absolute rats have just been thieving my content to try and, I don't know, like make a quick buck, and it sucks. I put so much hard work into my content and then someone else just gets the credit for it. Like, it's awful. So it'd be great if you guys could help give me a heads up if you see it so we can get it taken down. Next, I posted a massive whiteboard video talking about the voice actors strike and the controversy with Activision removing Samantha Maxis from Call of Duty Zombies and replacing her. It's a very weird situation, honestly. But the relevant thing for this video is that there's a little update to it, which is that the voice actor for Maya in Black Ops 6 Zombies, this is her Insta, Shantelligence, which is a sick name. I love that. And she says, like, I'm glad you're enjoying the map. And then this person says, is Samantha really gone? And she says, it seems so. And then they say, is the main crew changing as well? And Chantel liked that and said, change is inevitable. So it seems like even some of the new characters like Maya might be at risk of having the voice actors swapped out. Now, like I said in my whiteboard video, it's a very delicate situation. It's very weird because if we, for example, pressure Chantel to like come on my channel and talk about this and sort of be like, oh yeah, down with Activision, she's never going to be able to continue voicing Maya, right? Like Activision's just going to blacklist her. So I want to be very respectful of Chantel's kind of space here. And I want you guys to do the same thing. Okay, do not hound her wherever possible for information. Like just leave her alone, I would say. But it is interesting that she sort of seems to be confirming that change is afoot. And if you want to know what the hell I'm talking about with all this stuff, go check out the whiteboard video. I'll link it in the description. It explains everything in more detail than I can go into here. Next, this guy is a reality now. I am being turned into a figure, which is so exciting. I've actually got the physical in-person one. It looks exactly like the little marketing asset there. It's so friggin' cool. Like, I'm actually obsessed with this thing. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support that you've given me on my channel this year to make stuff like this happen. Like, so awesome. And it comes with a whiteboard as well. Oh, it's so cool. But we're actually doing a giveaway just for the next 48 hours. So if you want to enter it, you just got to go to the link in the description, and then you've got individual ways to get different entries here. And then, yeah, as soon as that timer expires, the sale will start on December 13th, and I will be available from U2s. Ah, so exciting. And alongside that, there's obviously all the other Zombies merch that U2s sell, which you can get from u2s.com/Milo. Now then, let's cover the patch notes because I was really disappointed, to be honest, seeing this, because they tweeted out the patch notes and there's quite a lot of stuff here. And so I was like, oh, this is really good. But then I realized that the bulk of the stuff is all in the multiplayer tab and Zombies is tiny. So let's first talk about the general changes because some of these are actually just pure comedy. First, they've reduced visual recoil on all weapons, which is great news, and reduced turn sway and gun kick and idle sway while firing and weapon motion, and removed additional layers of hipfire deviation. Like, these are all really nice changes to just make the game feel like your gun's doing this a little bit less. Do you know what I mean? And there's some tweaks here to aiming idle sway delay on snipers. Target laser now improves aiming idle sway. Like, I've just never even thought about my aiming idle sway in Zombies before, but I appreciate that they're bringing that change to Zombies as well as the other modes, I guess. But something I noticed in the multiplayer section, and granted, they say that this shouldn't apply to Zombies, but I bet it's going to carry over, is that they're buffing melee attack speed. So the power drill time between melee swings is improved. And if that does get carried over, it's going to be so funny because the boss on Citadel Day More is going to die in like 5 seconds. So yeah, that is meant to be just an MP change. Now let's talk Zombies changes. So number one, they've addressed an issue where you could get an AFK warning while actively running around the map. But the more important change here is that they've addressed an issue where loading a save after obtaining the 4 incantations would prevent players from entering the final encounter. This is something I've seen loads of complaints about, and these dovetail with the other complaints that sometimes you do all the sword stuff in the Easter egg, right? and then the 4 beams of light in that middle room, in that, what's it called, the like dining room or something, they move down, so you can't pick the mystical orb up and you can't do the elemental challenges. It's just not there. And frustratingly, that is not mentioned in the patch here. So they did mention the issue where light beams for obtaining the amulet, which is just one of the sword trials, wouldn't be visible if a player disconnected and rejoined a match while in a squad. Great. And they've also addressed an issue where changing default attachments on a blueprint weapon wouldn't apply in a match. Good. But then it's just various stability improvements. So that means that there's a huge amount of stuff that we're missing here, and it's stuff that is a really big deal. So I made this thread where I said, I'm surprised we haven't had a big patch for Citadel Daymore yet. Use the replies here for bug reports if there are things that you want addressed by Treyarch. And I've been really trying my best to use my position in the community to help pull in information and bug reports from as many of you guys as possible so that I can showcase some of them in these videos so that Treyarch can actually get them fixed, because I feel like there's a little bit of complacency with regards to actually changing stuff in zombies, and in multiplayer, they seem to get patches a little bit more frequently. And in previous games with previous COD developers as well, I feel like those patches were a little bit forthcoming sometimes, whereas here, there just feels like there's a little bit of lethargy. There's a little bit of a delay sometimes, and I think this is an example of that. So that's why I'm really trying to kind of help showcase and spotlight these things. And just to run through a couple of examples, and I'm sure you guys have experience with these as well, and leave comments if you've got any other bugs that you really want Treyarch to fix. And maybe if you're watching this and you're from Treyarch, you could just take a quick look at the comment section and know all the stuff you got to sort out just from reading that alone. But yeah, it's the soft lock with the orb. That's one that I just mentioned. There's also the lightning rod getting stuck. Now, I've just posted this video, which is a dedicated lightning rod build and upgrade guide, and I've done it for all the different swords here. And these contain a bunch of extra steps and tips if you get stuck at any time on any of the swords. So I really recommend you head over to my channel and then just like click the little search icon here and search the word sword if you ever get stuck with these. That's going to be the fastest way to pull these up in the future. And it's also going to mean that you do get the lightning rod stuck much less frequently, but still, it would be best if Treyarch just came along and patched it so that it could never get stuck, right? That would be the ideal solution here. Then other people are getting the light sword upgrade bug, and this is a weird variation of it where it caused 50 symbols to fly through the air and multiply until it crashed the game, which honestly sounds hilarious. So I kind of want to see a video of that. But yeah, the light sword upgrade bug can mean that if you save quit, you can be completely prevented from finishing the light sword upgrade process. And this has happened to a ton of you guys. Then Viniky's done like a big master thread on different challenges that are still not working, or they're working really inconsistently. And this is something that a lot of people on Reddit and just generally online have been really frustrated about. So Treyarch, it would be great to have these finally fixed. They've been problems since launch. It would be really nice to have them resolved now. We're 2 months in. I've also seen loads of videos of amalgams sending people through walls, dropping through the map, stuff like that. And I've also had this happen to me. You get this issue where you can no longer revive teammates for some reason. Like they're on the floor right in front of you and you just don't have a prompt to pick them up. And my suspicion is that that's related to this previous bug where maybe the downed player is like slightly in the floor and that's why they can't be revived in that scenario, maybe. And then outside of just Citadel Daymore, there's also stuff like this happening a lot, which I don't know if it's a bug or a feature. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments, but as you can see, Daven here is just playing and he's got full health. So he's got 300 HP, but no armor, and he's one hit by a vermin, right? And like, surely that's not how that should work. Granted, he's on round 59, but surely you should never be completely one hit from 300 HP to 0 by a vermin. Like, if that's the intended way that those work, I just think they need nerfing. And it's weird because I thought Treyarch did nerf them, but now they're still doing this? Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I think Treyarch should change that for sure. Now, moving on from the patch, we've got a couple of other discoveries, and then we'll talk about some of this next map discovery stuff that's really interesting. So Jake made a really interesting observation, which is that the symbols on the wall in Citadel Daymore are actually symbols that we saw in BO4. So these are the symbols that we see in the map, right? And they're also on the wine vases, and that's how you get the order of these. But these are the symbols that we see in Chaos, right? From Black Ops 4 Zombies. Here are the symbols again in Chaos. And some of these symbols, as Robin here has pointed out, are also from Shang as well. So I really wonder if there's ever going to be some kind of linking happening where we find out that this is actually like a cohesive language that we can read or something. Like, wouldn't it be interesting if all the symbol combinations that we typed in here were actually words? I would find that so interesting if that was ever discovered. So let's talk a little bit about DLC 2, which is codenamed Opal in the game files. So just to refresh your memory, we've got Quartz and Garnet, I believe, are the code names for Terminus and Liberty Falls. Then we've got Bloodstone, which is the code name for Citadel Daymore. And then Opal is the code name for DLC 2, which is also, I believe, referred to in the game files as Dig. And this is a Citadel Daymore intel, which has been reposted here by Margwa. And in that intel, you can see the dig site. So this is presumably the DLC 2 map. And this also presumably is what we're going to be seeing as a spiritual successor to Origins, right? But there are some details here that I think are particularly interesting. First of all, my buddy French's here has found that the image has this statue in the bottom, and it's very, very similar to the statue that we see in the Owl's tomb in the ending of Citadel Daymore. So it might be that there's massive statues honoring the legacy and history of the Owl himself in this next map, which I think is so interesting because the Owl's story is one of the most sort of juicy ones that we've had in Zombies in a really long time. There's a lot of intrigue with that character, and so the idea that in this map we'd be seeing massive relics to the Owl, and we might also then be seeing the sons, right, of the Owl, the dragon, the raven, the stag, and what's the fourth one? The egghead? I don't know, I can't remember right now, but we might be seeing all of those just like we saw in Origins in the map, which is going to just bring so many memories back. Now, Margwa has also done this tour of DLC 2's likely spawn room, and basically the way that he's done this is you can go into the multiplayer maps which are set in Avalon, right? And we know Citadel Daymore is set in Avalon, and those maps have loads of out-of-bounds areas that are going to be part of the Avalon Warzone map when that comes out next year, but that means that we can get kind of a little preview of some of the stuff that we can anticipate to see in Dig. And so if we go back to the beginning of Margwa's video here, this area, right, does look very, very similar to what we just saw in this intel. Right? Like, there is a lot of similarity between these two things. Specifically, look at this building here with the sort of pillars on the side, and then we go forward. There it is once again. And granted, there's some changes, like a lot of the rubble on the floor is different, but could that rubble in the corner there be the face that we're seeing here? Like, there's a lot of similarities. The pillars as well. There you go. There are the pillars. The ramp just here. There you go. There's the ramp. So tons and tons of overlap here. And this makes me a little worried that when Treyarch says, oh yeah, our DLC map is actually completely built, custom made for zombies, they might be telling some little white lies because actually these things are being built for Avalon, as you can see here, the Warzone map. But regardless, if we ignore that just for the time being, let's watch through some of Margwa's little preview video here. So you've obviously got the ramp up here. Maybe there'll be some doors where you can buy. Who knows? Maybe it'll feel like a challenge map, like playing Cheese Tower or whatever they're called, Cheese Cube. Also, this thing is interesting here. Look at this arch. Doesn't that remind you of that big door from the intro cutscene to, was it 9? I forget, but it's very chaos, right? And up here, there's some stuff that is honestly giving Ancient Evil energy. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that's just, it gets your imagination firing, right? As to the sorts of stuff that we might be seeing in this map. And granted, the full Zombies map will undoubtedly have more stuff than just what we're seeing here on this top level. And I think there's going to be a huge amount of the map that takes place underground, and that stuff that is not going to be fully modeled and figured out in the little preview here. It's just sort of very, very roughly designed rooms like this, but you can't really tell what's going on. So pretty impossible to really make anything out. And all we can say for now is, yeah, it looks like there is some kind of underground area. But regardless, very interesting to see a preview of a map like this so early in development and in such a, I don't know, just sort of like gritty and bare bones way. This is a really cool zoomed out view, actually, so you can see some of the other surrounding structures as well. And yeah, I guess that does sort of feel Zombies map sized, right? And Hustler Relic has made the observation that it really looks like Dig from Black Ops 2. Like, it really does look very similar. You've got this central circular area, and then you've got the kind of dig site in town around it. So yeah, is the map fully made for zombies and designed for zombies, or is it just repurposed assets, Treyarch? You let us know. On top of that stuff, Reality's posted a bunch of bits and pieces about the Wonder Weapon coming in Opal, this new Dig map. And weirdly, there are mentions of healing orbs, and also the Ray Gun Mark II is also still being rumored. So that's still a thing. But on top of that, the Opal Wonder Weapon is classed as a launcher, which doesn't really sound like a staff, right? I don't think of a staff as a launcher, but yeah, that's apparently what it's classed as in the game code. So that's weird. And this also ties in with some of the other weird stuff that we've been seeing in the game code, but this is actually in Citadel Daymore. So Nanikos has posted about these opal pillars, right? So this is described as being designed for DLC 2, but the weird thing is that this pillar is in Citadel Daymore. Naniko says, I'll add some context. These are the pillars in the Citadel Daymore boss room, but the model is named Opal, so it's a model that originates from the new map. There's 2 models of the short pillar, and this one for the tall one. And I mean, it would make total sense for the room that we saw in the Citadel boss fight to be a sort of precursor and preview of what we're going to be seeing in DLC 2, and for the DLC 2 one to be basically just the crazy place from Origins, right? But yeah, the fact that the pattern is coming back in DLC 2 is just more confirmation that going in the Origins direction is all that more likely. Now, speaking of Nanikos, there's finally been a discovery of, I think, the last Easter egg on Terminus and Liberty Falls. I don't believe there are any more in the game code that people have been sort of talking about or discussing, but the free fire cell's finally been found. You just have to have triggered all the other ones, and then you can find it in the trash can here, and a similar thing is the case on Terminus. Now, in terms of Citadel Daymore Easter eggs that have been unsolved, Nanikos has posted this, and is talking about the weird fire that you can see on top of the tower in the trailer for the map. My assumption's been that this is just an LDBR. Like, I did a stream where everyone was saying, oh, investigate it, but it just looks like an LDBR to me. But then Nanikos is also saying that sword upgrades don't exist. Like, they're apparently not in the game code. So it's just Cope thinking that we're going to be able to upgrade these swords. This is apparently as good as they're ever going to get, which is really disappointing. I'm not going to lie. The swords right now are okay, but they're not epic. They're not mind-blowing. They're just weapons. They don't feel like wonder weapons, and I think that's a problem. It looks like Zone actually agrees with me and thinks it's an LDBR as well. So yeah, hopefully Treyarch starts addressing some of the issues that I've raised in this video, and stuff like this stops happening as well. Like, the boss literally just disappears in this clip. And for a game that we're saying is like on par with some of the stronger zombies games over time, these sorts of issues right here, where the boss just disappears, they ruin everybody's experience in such a big way and are going to really prevent this game from being in the history books as something that we all absolutely adore. So I hope that they can kind of get their act together soon. And as a reminder also, just as we close the video out here, this guy is going to be available in 2 days from U2's, link in the description, and you can enter that giveaway just for the next 48 hours as well. Cheers, guys. Bye for now.